acknowledge the presence of our Alliance partners present and we wish to welcome all the media House present in this briefing. It's our ongoing part of West Papilla province, will be hosting the Red October launch on the 5th of October 2014 and Hamas Day Sport Ground under the theme Mobilise People's Power to transform the financial sector and build a people's economy. The rally will be addressed by the Sacp, Chancellor of the Zimande, National YCL Secretary, Utamanamed and national leaders of ANC, Sacp and Sacp. Red October campaign 2014 to 2015. Through the Red October campaign 2014-2015, we celebrate the 97th anniversary of the Great October Social Revolution that took place in Russia in 2017. We are now just 3 years away from the centenary of this widespread socialist revolution and state established by the working class and peasantry, hence the nature of the harm and Sacp as the law of the World Communist International. The strategy and tactics used by Lenin, the leader of this greatest milestone in human history, the struggle for universal emancipation, was built on the theoretical foundation laid down by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Mobilize people's power to transform the financial sector and build the economy. Inspired by the World Communist Movement, which contributed enormously the national liberation struggle throughout the world, with the global South, including our own struggle, benefiting immensely from the Great October Social Revolution, we are forging ahead. The task properly summed up by Lenin is more important than ever before. The Sacp will use the Red October campaign 2014-2015 as an opportunity to relaunch the financial sector campaign together with our comrades, colleagues and partners in the Financial Sector Campaign Coalition. Together we've scored important achievements since the launch of the financial sector campaign in the late 1990s and early 2000. We must deepen these achievements, expand and build on them to take our revolution forward through the second, more radical phase of our transition. The financial sector campaign is central in this regard. We must intensify our mobilization of broad sections of society behind our call for the transformation of the financial sector to serve our people. The financial sector has become the epicenter of the capitalist system and thus plays a central role in sustaining and consolidating capitalism with all its skills, exploitation and monopoly characteristics. It is therefore crucial for our revolutionaries to take this sector ahead of. This is critical if we are to ever wage a social revolution and achieve universal emancipation, encompassing and end economic exploitation and political domination by multi-class. The persistent crisis of inequality, unemployment and poverty is a direct result of capitalist and imperialist exploitation enhanced by the predatory nature of finance capital. It is entrenched and dominates almost all aspects of our everyday life, more so since the rise of neoliberal domination in the 1970s and development of financial relations. Finance capital has become dominant in economic activity and social life thanks to the technical movement performed by money, the circulation of capital, exchange and neoliberal economic restructuring. It is now a dominant section of the global ruling class and in many economies with increasing control of productive capital, states and even society. It is due to financialization that in many economies, ours included investment is shifted from the productive sector and development increasingly towards financial markets and products. These are seen to be lucrative and flexible to short-term capital accumulation, interest, as well as frequent market fluctuations. Financialization has often been accompanied by, if not resulting in generalization, in value decrease depending on country position in the international division of labor. In this retail sector, as they buy above their income and thus commit or spend their future earnings before these are ended, therefore sinking to indebtedness, more and more consumers not only buy the traditional and conventional commodities, the actual products and services that are on sale. There are channels to buy finance, it is the bankers' money or interest to facilitate the sale through credit and loans. It is this and other ways money has been converted from being a measure of value and medium of exchange into a commodity resource. It has also increasingly become divorced from production of goods and services in the same way as its price, that is, interest, is irrationally undermined by nothing in production. Unlike many commodities, the sale of money is accompanied by other costs to consumers such as administration fees from which additional profit is made by our current day Mr. Macy's money bags. The sale of money has become more significant as a source of capital accumulation in an increasingly overwhelming number of transactions than the underlying products and services being sold, such as food, clothing, the means of communication and transport, and houses. On houses where money is sold, on compounded interest and with other charges involved, the total cost to consumers can buy an additional house, if not more. It is under financialization that many wallets and their purses are full of credit cards and similar cards offered by retail chain stores and financial service providers. Huge numbers of households are distressed in debt through credit from these cards and loans. The economic, social, and health consequences caused by an untransformed financial sector are immeasurable. The damage being caused by debt is overwhelmingly irreparable. Polarization, internalization of employment have been entrenched. Reduction in employment benefits and worker income contribute in persistent inequality and poverty. Increasing incidences of strike-related violence are in part a result of aggressive erosion of hard-won gains by this accumulation regime. As the neoliberal mantra of destructive individualism entrenches, consumer competition is fueled, resulting in the phenomenon of consumerism and conspicuous consumption. More people are coerced by the forces of prevailing ideological domination and social conditions to live above their means. Others take shortcuts and turn to gambling. There they get finished off when they pump their hard-earned money into bank accounts of casino bosses accumulated in the form of absolute surplus value. Housing repossessions and evictions are increasing. At the South Gauteng High Court, repossessions and evictions have become a significant business of the day, linked with corruption and collusion by the corruptors and corruptables. Health-wise, there are increasing incidences of stress, anxiety disorders, depression, and household quarrels and conflicts. These often result in the extreme in the killing of spouses by spouses, if not whole families, including children by parents. In the retail sector, finance capital is assumed control, as in the case of on non-financial entities in other sectors. This has become so widespread that the distinction between financial and non-financial transactions and entities has been diminished and is continuing to be diminished further. What they call what pick and pay stores used to be to what it is now. You get more financial services than groceries. The same with PEP stores and many others. This is financialization of the economy in its worst form. All of these and other interrelated problems affect large numbers of our people in the interest of profits and private accumulation by and for a tiny minority of accumulators who have become vampires, ever thirsty, sucking out all the blood of the prey until there is nothing left but dry flesh to finish off. Our struggle for transformation of the financial sector is a struggle for humanity. It is an all-encompassing struggle for complete liberation and social emancipation, which involves the following: review and roll back the policy of economic liberalization, break the investment strike by bosses, tax illicit capital above a particular range across the board, let us fight against consumerism, intensify consumer education, oppose the bailout of reckless lenders with taxpayers' money, deepen transformation against the monopoly of big financial sector, build and support an all-inclusive cooperative financial sector, give transformation mandate to developmental and financial institutions, universal access to and lower the cost of accumulation. The SSCP will continue to develop and position itself as the force of the South African working class. As part of our activist program to take part in the struggle of our people, we will push forward the transformation of the financial sector to serve the people. The main challenge facing our people from the financial sector today is to transform or die together with the poor while the rich survive. We call on all of you to join this campaign, own it and implement it in your own as part of the broader financial sector transformation and progressive consumer movement. This is your campaign and not exclusively the SSCP's. We are just providing the impetus to the campaign and its implementation. Lastly, we call all our communities, youth stock first, to join us in the celebration of the 17th October Revolution. and the launch of our 2014-2015 financial sector. Our political independence without economic independence is meaningless. Hence our blockade, the struggle continues, is still relevant today. Let us mobilize people's power to transform the financial sector and build a people's economy. Amanda.
All right. Good afternoon, comrades. The leadership of the party and the African National Congress, Comrade Arani Bamakare, and all of you, thank you very much. I must apologize for coming a bit late and from municipal duty, but I said I would join you at about 1 o'clock. I'm a bit late, Comrade Secretary. But I think I would want to open for questions. I'm sure that the
models to educate people who wish to pursue the whole
right now, no bother covers no bother because
Let's first say that we are a team, not an individual. I'm sure the question is not directed to an individual. But all we're saying is that from the Morogoro conference stand, 1969, the conference of 2009, was that we were not fighting for a political power or a political flag. But ours was that any political freedom that is divorced from economic freedom is meaningless. Now, what we're saying is that one, we are not saying that people should not get involved in the economic sphere in terms of their work, but at least it must have a human factor. We must not elevate profit at the expense of our people's life. Now we have quite a number of things that we are dealing with, and I'd like to count them. Local economic development, IDPs. IDPs is more about people telling us what they want, not us imposing ourselves. The issue of, we know about the high levels of poverty in South Africa. So there's a need for what we call food security. Hence our government is talking about one house, one garden. There's also the issue of skills development, and most of our people have got skills, but which are misplaced in terms of like people who've got degrees but are unemployed. So our education does not talk to economic needs. Then of course also outside the public works program, which needs to be reviewed because it is sort of, controversial but there are also other issues that have got to do with features of accumulation growth path, which are also a problem based on race, class, and gender. Then the issue of nationalization, what you nationalize, ongoing program that must, but we know that nationalization must focus on the commanding heights of the economy. I think these are some of the issues that I can so far explain. My Congress will go for
thanks,
maybe if I may add Comrade Chen, because I think from the Congress it's very clear that what he's trying to unpack is that the campaign, what does it mean to a normal person, to an ordinary person? Maybe I think we must indicate that it's not the first time the Communist Party has been embarking in this kind of campaign. It's a campaign that has been waged by the South African Communist Party for quite some time, also going back to 2002. And this campaign has registered some victories in the form of the National Credit Act. But what we are observing now is that the majority of ordinary people, or the majority of the poor, they are still lag behind in terms of understanding their right as consumers in terms of the National Credit Act. And we think maybe those are some of the things that we must also advance, and also to protect the National Credit Act itself as one of our victories. We think part of this campaign is to take such, pick up those programs. But I think also we must indicate that capitalism has registered many failures on several occasions, but that has not been spoken about. It's like capitalism remains to be powerful, capitalism remains to be victorious, and it's the only system that can sustain. Whereas there are so many failures of capitalism that are not registered. You can also, for instance, take the issue of the challenge of the African Bank, and you will realize that these big financial institutions, they are so they will quickly come up and respond in the form of bailout when it's these big institutions that are collapsing. But when it's ordinary people, when we say as the South African Communist Party or as COSATU, or the Alliance, when we say that people must be removed, people must be cleared from being blacklisted, it's the very same institutions that come and say where the money is going to come from. But if it's these big institutions like the bank, that question doesn't pop up. They always come so willing to come up and bail out these institutions. So these are some of the things. We also spoke about the issue of the cooperatives in a true sense of the word. But these cooperatives really, they do not get the necessary support in terms of funding, skilling, and all that. And we think this campaign must begin to address such things, including maybe check the issue of the garnish to us as workers. You find that there are so many new workers who are under garnishes, but some of these garnishes are illegal. Sometimes you receive an SMS from your cell phone that tells you that you owe a certain store, knowing very well that you have settled that particular store, or you never even have an account with that particular store. And we think these are some of the challenges that are facing the working class and the ordinary people that we think as part of this campaign we must be able to address.
Ability of the, if I got it well, of the graduates. Yeah, I just want to find out what informs it, and if there is a remedy, what should it be or what should be done to address the issue.
I'm assisting, but one thing, we were in Harbour State where the president of the country was addressing us. During his visits, the one house where he went to, yes, in Peterman's Bay, where one young man has got no parents, is staying with 3 young kids, schooling and also working at the same time. And the president said to him, what are you studying inside? No, he's doing human resource. And the president said, no. If you do human resource, I'm not going to get work. If you do public admin, I'm not going to work. I'm going to add to a number of unemployed people with degrees. Then this guy said, he asked him, the president asked him, what did you want to do from the very onset? You know? Then the guy said, no, I want to be a chartered accountant. The president said, yeah, that's what you should be doing. And he said, no, now you belong to my foundation. And what we're saying is that we are in the present and inherited assets and deficiencies of the past in terms of value education. And if we go to most of our township schools, we see that most of them are empty. Because look, the transition from 1994 to this 20 years of freedom can't address all the problems that have taken place in 200 years. So yes, we are free, but we are still part and parcel of the past. We will, as we grow, like a child, when a child is, is growing, find steps, to resolve some of the things. But some of them, the damage is too much. We want somebody there.
Yeah, maybe if I may add, our Nobala is quite correct, because we're coming from an era of apartheid and colonialism, and now we're in an era of democracy. And therefore, it's a historical problem. It will take some time. So in 20 years, we can't address that situation, because the majority of South Africans are young people who constitute 70%. And then out of that 70%, there's this historical question where we were denied the opportunity of getting the best education. So we're part of Bantu education, where our education was secondary. And then if you look at that particular component, are the black African majority, who are young people between the age of 14 and 35 years, who constitute that majority. And therefore, that's why while government is trying to fix the education system to address this particular question, of which the majority are black, but at the same time they are from the poor and the working class. But at the same time, there is a skills shortage in the country. And that's why government decided to separate the two departments, so that there is a focus on higher education and training, of which luckily, as we are here in the headquarters of the party in the province, it's a ministry which is under our general secretary, so that we can address that particular question. There must be a focus on higher education and training. So over time, it's something that will be, addressed as we progress and move forward. But of course, it's something that we're not addressed within 10 to 20 years. It was a historical question. Right?
Yeah.
Cover.
I think I'm done.
So did he.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, that was it.
So common leadership, I don't know, from the ANC Masolo.
No, I think for us was here to show our support for the alliance as part of the control taking forward the plight of our people. We understand the task at hand that we've not yet finished what we had started. The long journey, all of us taking is part of the key thing that moving forward. Economic transformation is a key issue. How do we move on in transforming the economy? We achieved our political liberation, but the economic freedom of the bank and handling forward. So we're here to show that support on behalf of the ANC and the alliance.
Thanks, Comrade Masolo, who is a member of the PEC of the ANC province. Comrade, provincial secretary of the Sacp of the province, Comrade Toshan. His real name is Richard Shaw, but don't know Toshan.
Yeah, Chairperson Sector campaign, and I can confirm that as communities we have achieved a lot through this campaign. The campaign has done wonders to the community. If you go out there, there's a lot of cooperatives that have been formed by the communities through this campaign of the Communist Party. And it's a tremendous achievement, I must say. So that is why we are really fully behind this campaign. And we support it throughout.
I think I forgot to ask one question. I can't remember exactly among voters on the point of the comparatives that what is it, okay, what might be the problem with it, and what is it that can be done in order to be the desired transformation is achieved.
No, I think the reason why we actually touched on that one, cooperatives was a concept and a strategy that was mostly advanced by the South African Communist Party, which the party saw as one way of creating jobs and also empowering poor people in terms of them getting into business, but not in a way which is done by in a capitalist way, but where the ownership is shared among the people. Now, what we observed in the process of the implementation of these cooperatives as a concept is that cooperatives now are beginning to be more of the same of what we're trying to avoid, where you find that they are more of an individual business than being something that is driven collectively by people. And also we've observed the lack of funding of cooperatives. Now cooperatives being owned by certain individuals, and the lack of funding of cooperatives, and also the lack of investing in skilling of cooperatives. So those are some of the challenges that we are identifying, of which we think as part of this campaign we need to address this challenge for cooperatives to what we viewed to be in a true sense of the word, which is something that is driven collectively and something that is owned by the people rather than being something which is more of a business of one individual. So that's why we touched on the issue of cooperatives, because you will see that here the issue of cooperatives, stock fairs, and all that is highly emphasized as part of this campaign as well.
No, thanks.
So, what is it that leads to the malfunctionality of the cooperatives? Is it the strategy or the way it is rolled out?
So maybe also to come in, there is a government program in the province undertaken by the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs to train and facilitate co-ops. Was one thing we observed that having started the program as early as 2007 and 8 in the province. One thing was that people were going to that range because they wanted to get easy ways of making money without understanding the essence of the co-op. The co-op is there as a group of collective of individuals who share same ideas about what to do and what to achieve. But what government has done, we've started done training of the co-op across the province. Beyond them undergoing trainings, that says how to unlock opportunities for them within the government. You know, when you speak of government, it's one area where the procurement cutting across all levels of government, it's high turnover thereof in comparison to other areas of the economy. That's why I say there are better possibilities of the economy for empowering people. So that's the program government has undertaken in the province. In fact, right now the province for the small medium SMME entity has been set up in the province to ensure that your local economy, your cooperative through your local banks like Itana, you put more effort, because what we challenge you observe that part of the cost once they are there, but the funding part of them to start and go out, it has been lacking. So I think there's been improvement on the government side, but I think more can be done, especially at your local level of the municipalities and other areas. At this stage in government, you still buy your overalls for the workers in big companies. That thing organized women in the area, they are both swing machines, they can produce such. It's a local economic empowerment opportunity where they are located, and it is sustainable. Because if you're Masipala, when they wear these red overalls, they're Masipala or blue or green or orange, they wear. But it's public works. Those such acts, they're continuous and they can be sustainable. You can identify a number of different government departments. You provide bread for correctional services, you provide bread for the hospitals. Such are opportunities which are not at a bigger scale, which will require a market of fund more finance to start somewhere. But as small as it is, can take people somewhere and will alleviate them outside of poverty area they are in at this stage.
No, thanks, man. So, Sir, you wanted to say something?
No, just to add to this misconception that the intention is to encourage our communities to be their own liberators and to benefit as well in this economic system. One of the malfunctions was that, which is a misconception, instead of cooperatives being their own employers, in some instances they are employed and paid a particular amount to individuals. They're supposed to be their own liberators, they're supposed to be the employer themselves, because that then encourages them to accordingly perform as expected, not vis-a-vis. Take for example, we do have cooperatives that have supervisors who come from somewhere else to supervise them and take them a particular amount, instead of them sharing whatever the resources that they have.
No. Well, I think we are done. Wait.
Yes.
Was that one was a question?
Ngaphandle kosufuna ukubhala inye page yonke.
That's